Alrighty, hello, welcome to episode 2 of the Bedroom Studios official podcast. I'm the host, Michael Butts, and I'm joined here with Darrel Cameron, or Blue Acres, as some people may know him. Hello.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's great
problem,
to
man.
be here.
Thanks for saying yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's an honor. And I've been a fan of your work for a while, so it's cool to, get a chance to come out and hang out and see where you work. It's awesome, man. It's a great setup.
Thank you. Likewise, I first started listening to the music from that album in 2022.
Yeah.
And I was like, how have I not heard of this before?
Oh,
because
bless your heart.
I knew you ran. I knew you ran Blue Acres.
Yeah.
And it was Sylvie who actually put me onto Blue Acres.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I looked. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm in so many communities now when it comes to music or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that obviously people do overlap in different communities and all that stuff. But it's always good to just meet new people and then eventually have Group A meet Group B and then even make more people, more connections and all that stuff.
Totally.
Where was I going with that? Yeah, so you, as well, being Blue Acres, what made you decide to come up with this Blue Acres music community, let alone just Blue Acres as a stage name?
Like, sort of the community with regards to like a Facebook group and stuff like that?
Yeah, so what came first, the group or the stage name, just for you?
Oh, good question. Yeah, so I think the stage name came first. So I have a long kind of interesting relationship with like myself as an artist, and I don't know how much you want to get into there, but I think like I guess the short story version of it is like having a moniker at one point helped me to like get over some of that inner critic stuff about like being able to release something or being able to say like, oh, this is I don't know. I felt like for a while with my own name, I did release an album under my own name in 2010, I think, a long time ago. And then, I've been doing shows and stuff like that. But then, I think using the kind of band name or moniker Blue Acres came out of, I think, just wanting to have a little bit more distance between like the creative work and like me as a person, I guess. And I don't know if I would still do that now or if I still have that need to do that, but I do think as a brand it's been something that like has developed a little bit since then, so which is good. Like you mentioned, the community, like we have a Facebook group that I appreciate you being in and interacting in all the time, and like, where people can just encourage one another and connect with other people who are doing this creative work, whether they're playing shows or whether they're doing recordings or releasing songs and stuff like that. It's it's a Facebook group, but it's also like, I don't know, one of the main things we do is just check in on Friday with like, hey, tell us what you're doing, and so we can cheer you on, kind of thing. And like I said, I appreciate you being involved in those conversations, because it really adds a lot. Like when people engage with that and, or post what they're doing, because then it encourages other people to do their stuff. So
yeah, I do really like the getting together of multiple people of the same, same like mind, I guess, the same mentality. There's
Totally.
Also who else does one? Tony Trimper, he has songwriter sessions.
Oh yeah.
That used to be also like a live performance as well at Pizza Town.
Yeah.
That got taken down, but you still have the community group, and there's people still. I don't know if are you in songwriter sessions?
I don't know if I am. I should check that out. Tony's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's busy like all of us as well.
Yeah, totally.
He always has his weekend taken care of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still has songwriter sessions, and Melissa No, or his publicist, as he jokes
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Melissa Noah is also one of the admins, so it's
Oh, cool.
and it's like free to join. Like you go in, there's no like wait approval, but like the
Yeah.
posts are like admin pending,
Right.
But it's still people just post like, hey, got a gig coming up, or hey, here's this video.
Yeah.
It's the same premise.
Totally.
And I like that a lot. There's even one that I frequent a bit. It's for people who actually use Reaper.
Oh, awesome.
If I ever got like a question, I just like take a picture of my problem and I go, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
help!"
That's amazing. Yeah, totally.
And they jump on the gun within like 20 minutes. I like
Yeah.
that. And it's good to see that the activity and like the dedication is just everywhere and anywhere.
Totally. Yeah. And, it's cool to find these like supportive spaces. Like, obviously in real life, it's great. Like if you can get together, or if you're, like you said, Pizza Town, those events there that Tony would host, or, other events like the open mics in Halifax that you've gone to, I've gone to, and all this kind of stuff. It's cool to find those spaces, and then also it's cool to find and participate and create those spaces online when it's possible too. So
Oh, yeah.
this is not always it's not always there, but I think it's good to do what we can to cultivate that. I think. Yeah.
I know because I go out a lot, and so I hit up as much as I can.
Yeah.
And, not just for relevancy's sake, but like obviously to catch up with people that I know, or possibly meet people that I don't know.
Yeah.
I find, because I don't know, I don't see you frequent open mics a
No.
lot. No.
I don't. No, I was just gonna say you said you go out a lot. I'm like, I stay home a lot. So yeah, I it's not that I don't want to go out. I just I mean I go sometimes. I've been to Crookshanks more recently, which is an open mic. I'm sure people listening will probably know, but it's an open mic at a funeral home once a month that Noah Ty and Carolyn McQuinnan Cook host, and it's friggin' cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible acoustics.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's the reason why he went there.
Why me? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just...
No, like why Noah picked
Oh,
that
why
place.
Noah went there. Yeah, probably.
He just goes for
Yeah.
places with good sound.
Yeah.
So have you ever been to his Two Crows brewing?
I haven't been there yet. I used to go when it was Hop Yard, R.I.P. Hop Yard. I used to
Yeah.
love that place. But I haven't been to the Two Crows yet.
I'll
How
tell you
is it?
right now. So just imagine. So it's the same premise.
Yeah.
He's got his mixer. He's got one speaker. He's got one monitor.
Yeah.
This time he's got big lights flashing at you.
Yeah.
It's a 2 mic setup. His fancy Frankenstein guitar, tube amp, all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously you're in a brewery.
Right.
So you're getting so much plate reverb.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many vats and tanks all
Right.
around you. They're just straight up metal.
Yeah.
So obviously you're getting, just from raising your voice, you're going to get all these reverbs. And it doesn't sound disgusting, which is the best part.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
You'd think having all this slapback and all this plate reverb, with
Yeah.
all these vats close to you, you would think the first thing that comes into mind is, oh, feedback.
Yeah, totally.
And then you don't even get feedback. Well, obviously, or the monitor control it accordingly so you don't get feedback. But I'm still surprised, even with just all that reverb
Yeah.
coming back into the mic doesn't cause feedback. Oh, it's incredible.
That's amazing.
And then it's just sometimes if you're lucky, if it's a dead night, you can get 3 songs.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But circling back, I find I break it down into 2 different things. There's open mics and open jams.
Right, okay. Talk to me about that.
So I find open mics are more like catch up with friends,
Yeah.
opposing to meeting new friends, because it's probably going to be the same people, and there may be like 2 people that you don't know, and you can talk to them if you want to,
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
Then when it's open jams, it's all of a sudden I think it's just the ability that multiple people can go up and play.
Yeah.
I see that there's more sparks being ignited and more chemistry being created.
Cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The same premise is just present music.
Yeah.
Right? Present music to the audience. But I find that open jams bring more community than an open mic.
Cool,
Open
man.
mic, you get the
Yeah.
people that want to show off their stuff for 15 minutes. Open jams, you get the people that want to show off their stuff forever.
Right.
Like, we got one in Sackville.
Right.
Every Thursday night, we got Freeman's Free Jam.
Yeah.
Hosted by Jer Mumbo.
Yeah. Shout out Jerry Mambo.
Shout out Jer Mumbo. Did you see the video? I think from like a year and a half ago, Steve Craig gave him an award for his contribution for open mics and all that.
No.
Yeah, so he runs an open mic every first and third Wednesday
Wow.
at Boston Pizza in Sackville.
Yeah.
Runs his weekly open jam.
Yeah.
The occasional karaoke or open jam at the Sackville Bar at First Lake.
Yeah.
And he posted the video. He's like, guys, I got an award from Steve Craig.
That's amazing, man. That is so cool.
But
Yeah.
that's the thing. He is a community man, and he's also a super busy dude because he also is freelance wedding DJ as well.
Yeah, totally. He also
And-
karaoke somewhere too, and isn't he at doing something at Rumors now as well?
No,
I
it's
think.
Jesse.
Oh, whoops, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's well.
No, yeah, I remember. I my bad, guys. Well, yeah, no, he is doing. He was doing a karaoke thing though too. I thought.
Yeah,
At
he does the
Sackwa?
karaoke at Sackwa. It's either
Right.
like are we doing karaoke this weekend or
Yeah.
or are we doing an open jam this weekend?
Right,
And then they
right,
just
right.
the big jam. I don't know if you ever seen the refurbished Sackwa, but massive
No.
dance floor.
Really?
Massive dance floor. What they used to do is they would go immediately. You walk in, turn to your right, and then they would be up against that wall, like facing you.
Yeah.
But now they decided to go up against the wall and leave like the big glass windows open.
Yeah.
And I've noticed since last time I was there, they actually put padding on the walls.
Oh wow, that's good.
Because
that's
that
good.
room reverb, though it was just a big rectangle prism,
Yeah.
that room was the reverb was insane. Like
Yeah.
literally had to turn off the digi effects.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So now with the padding, no corner traps, but they have like padding on the walls and ceilings, and
Yeah.
it sounds like 5 times better.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
another jam spot that they're starting up soon. They closed for the summer. Monty's.
Yes. Yeah, I went to that a few times. Like back, it's probably a couple years ago now.
Back when Jesse was hosting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
I mean,
Met
honest-
a bunch of people there. I
hands
think
down-
I saw you there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Hands down, Monty's is probably one of the best sounding places.
Yeah.
But everyone says the same thing.
Right.
Location.
Right. Okay.
Everyone doesn't want to, no one wants to play there, and everyone's reluctant to play there.
Yeah.
And the people that are big enough, they're like, man, we're only getting south of 100. It's like, well, I'd like south of 100.
Well, yeah, totally. Totally, yeah. Another thing that was really cool recently is a songwriting event that Tyler
Tyler and Cam.
and
host,
Cam
yes.
were putting on at The Nest, which is on Quinpool Road. And it's this cute little arts office space there, hosted by, or DePopo Theater is like running up that space. And so they have different events and things like that in there. A shout out to that spot, The Nest. And yeah, that's a really cool event because they're just starting it up, but it's like, we show up and chat for a little bit about songwriting, and then you are divided up with another songwriter or maybe two, and you go off into one of the little office spaces and write a song in an hour, and that's it. Yeah, it's really wild.
It was wild. I did the first one.
Oh, did you? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was I can sing and songwrite.
Cool.
Right. And when it comes to like lyrics and chords, right,
Mhm.
I just said it was kind of like a 60-40. So they threw my weakness in lyric writing,
Okay.
even though it was only 60-40.
Yeah.
And then they put me with a guy who said he's good at writing lyrics and like not good at playing.
Okay.
And then when we went to not throwing shade on the guy, but when we went to our room, it was just like he was like, I don't know, man. I was like,
Right.
not that I had to defend him myself. Like we had a good song.
Yeah. Cool.
We did like the cheesy like every line rhymed, and they didn't like that, so they're like, don't do that next time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Because
yeah.
after playing, you get critiques.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what happened that week. I actually
yeah,
went
yeah.
over to the Sunday sesh at the basement of the shoe shop on
Oh,
Argyle.
cool.
But I was over at Tyler's right before.
Yeah,
going.
I heard that.
But
That's great.
so did you guys do the same thing? You wrote the song for the art. Did you hightail it to the Canon and present?
No, we didn't end up doing the canon thing. We just played it in the little room, which was really cool. It was a smaller group, but it would be cool to see like how that develops, And I think if we get some more folks out there, it would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures. The last one was you, Tom and Seamus and Bill. Was it?
Billy T was there.
That was a great guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He does a lot too.
And then there's another guy, I forget his name, a young guy who, they did a great song. Bill and this young, I forget his name. I feel bad. Anyway,
Was
this
it
is the first time
Zachary?
I met him. I think maybe
Zach Dukas? Yeah, that was my partner.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. No, they did great.
So what I talked to Cam afterwards about that, and I was like, I even said it like as a joke as we went up before we played, and I was like, me, sing, songwrite, a decade of experience, and I was like, and Zach goes into the mic, he's like, nothing. I was like, oh, and I said to Cam, I was like, no, don't get me wrong, we wrote a good song together, but like, that guy didn't have the strength that you put him under. And then Cam goes, it was actually more or less, we eventually made it, the strength was you had confidence and he didn't. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So we were up there, we presented our song, I presented one of mine, and then he presented one of his. So how it worked is we did our song, and then we did one of our own.
Oh, cool.
I don't know, yours seems very watered down from the one that I had.
Yeah.
You didn't, like, after you guys did the group song, you didn't present one afterwards that you wrote on your own or something?
No, it was, we didn't really have a lot of time. I don't know. Like, I kind of thought it would be cool to do, not really a lightning thing, but it would be, like, we had 2 hours, and we spent 1 hour writing a song. I kind of thought it would be neat to do, like, write a song with one person for an hour and then switch and then do like some other random partner and write.
Oh, that'd be
another
wild.
song. I thought that'd be cool too. But
Remember
in any case,
the first one that we did, it went to 11.
Oh my gosh!
We started at
you're
7.
talking about like you go out and I stay home. Like I couldn't stay out till 11, man.
Oh, I couldn't either. I was surprised that it took that long. I thought we'd be over at like 9 something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "All right, guys, now you guys get to present one song that you've written on your own." I'm like,
yeah,
I wanted to go to another open mic.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
So yeah, it went from me and a few other people. We arrived at 6.
Yeah.
We got there
my
before
gosh.
Cam and Tyler.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're just waiting. All of a sudden, we
Yeah.
have to start at like 6:30 because
Yeah.
Tyler's taking his sweet old time.
Oh my gosh.
And then as soon as
What a
7
guy.
hits, yeah. As soon as 7 hits, it was from 7 to 11.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And we were like, I think there was like 16 of us or something like that.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and then plus Tyler and Cam.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 16 of us at the Cannon, and getting drinks and all that, getting food, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good to hear everyone else's songs, and everyone was able to just critique.
Yeah.
Like the critique on the song that Zach and I wrote was just, don't rhyme every word at the end of your sentence,
Interesting.
Or at the end of your because it was just to be fast. It was just
Yeah.
we got an hour, but I can't think of anything. Let's just rhyme, and then Cam and Tyler were like, "Don't do that. It sounds corny." I was like,
Well, I don't know. Maybe it sounded. I didn't hear it, so. I'm not trying to disagree with that advice, but no, that's cool, man. I want to ask. I want to learn about your production and how you got into that, and like what you do, and all that, because I like what you're coming up with. I think you're doing some really cool stuff, and
Thank you.
Not that. I mean, I don't mean to steer the conversation.
"No,
but
that's
if you-
fine, man."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll say it, and then I'll ask you about that as well.
Sure.
So, mine was basically just, even when it comes down to like playing instruments, I had friends that were doing it, and I said, "Well, why can't I?"
That's awesome.
That was
I love that
was it.
attitude. Yeah.
I had friends that were playing guitar and bass, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, why can't I?" So I decided, I just gave it. I just I'm gonna learn this,
Yeah.
and I want to learn this good enough.
Yeah.
So when I first started singing and songwriting, or even just doing covers, I actually had one of my friends who was the guitarist. He was really good at mixing and mastering.
Wow.
And had a recording set up. He just had a Scarlett 2i2 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I got like an 18i20.
Sweet. Nice.
But this was back since like 2015 and all that. We were just doing recording, all that stuff, and it just always sounded really tight, right?
Yeah.
So there would be times I would just ask him for pointers, because he said back when we started, when Jamming Through the Night started doing stuff, we originally did covers, and they were all mixed by him.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Yeah, I gotta stop this sometime soon." And I was like, "Okay, time to figure out how to actually do this."
Yeah, totally.
Time to actually like understand what everything is. And there's times I just ask him for pointers and all that.
Yeah.
And I got comfortable enough. giving me like, hey, here's here's a free plugin for this, or here's a free plugin for that.
Yeah.
They sound pretty good. Give them a try, and I'm like, okay, I'll give them a try, and I use them from time to time, and I like them a lot.
That's awesome.
Something like a clone of a oh, what is it? A Sans amp for bass? Yeah.
Okay.
Clone Sans amp. And when you walked in, I had that. There was a compressor on there. It was a Waves D to A compressor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I liked it because you can. It was an analog switch would go 0, which is digital.
Yeah.
And it goes in like 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Was it the H comp? Or no, was that H comp?
Yeah, H comp stereo. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man.
And then he also showed me a Manly. Is it Manly? I think it's Manly.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Manly. Not that big purple thing. It was. I think it's called Manny's EQ or something like
cool.
that. It's a 4-band. It's a 4-band EQ with ability to just adjust bandwidth and ability to just direct, and you can activate and deactivate the single. It's cool because it's just the one fader going up and down for 4 different parts of the frequency spectrum. But on top of that, there's a little switch at the bottom that has 3 numbers on it. And I've looked up how to use this, and they say, solo the frequency you're working with, right? And cycle between whichever one feels the most punchy.
Yep.
Keep it on that, and then boost.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically you have 4.
Yep.
But each one has 3. So 3 different options that come out of. So what? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3.
That's
and then,
cool, man.
And of course, obviously, input, outputs. I love it. I used to use the H-comp stereo always when it came to, like, using compression or, the default recomp or reacomp, however you pronounce that. I also...
from Reaper.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like doing it. I do it with sidechain compression on compressing bass. I use my my kick in mic, and I just send it over, and just nothing past 4.
Wicked.
I like it. But there's also this one that I've shown Tyler several times. I don't know if he got it, but it's free. It's called Leveling Tool, which is basically just a, I think it's a tube, or it's a FET. I think, it's a FET comp.
Okay.
Simulator, and it's by ADHD.
Cool.
It's free, really nice. You got HPF on it. You got a drive on it. You have gain. Attack, release, ratio, mix, and obviously the gain reduction. And
cool.
I just like looking at the VU meter.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But
wicked,
FET sounds really nice.
Sweet.
I do like that, and of course, FET simulates tubes, opposing to having real tubes, which is really nice. I got
totally. Talk to me about this. So you got this rack here, which is gorgeous, and I'm jealous.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the rack mount originally started with. I think the first thing that I got was either the Art Pro VLA2 or either the Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. I'm trying to remember. I think these were both at the same time.
Okay.
So what it was like, I wanted to try outboard gear for the first time.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get a bunch of stuff. So I first got the Art Pro VLA2 tube compressor. So it's 2-channel, or that button right there becomes stereo.
Right.
Which is beautiful. And then all of a sudden, these are all the same things. Attack, release, input, output, and ratio.
Yeah.
When you stereo link it, that is your input for both channels, and this comes a left and right, which is very nice.
That's awesome.
So recently I got little TRS cables. I got 4 of them in the back right now.
Yeah.
I can actually scoot this out because this is on wheels.
That's wicked.
So I have, I'm going to start using this as a real-time master.
Yep.
And just render from my master channel the compressed sound, and then work on a stereo file that's already compressed.
Yeah.
But the only thing about that is obviously it's real time, so gotta make my songs short.
Yeah.
Which I like long songs.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, I was just going along and just vibing with the preamps inside.
Yeah.
And I like the 3rd gen pre's. They're just called 3rd gen Focusrite pre's.
Oh, from the Focusrite. Yeah, totally.
And I really liked them. And my friend, and I'll call him a mentor for mixing, he was like, get a real pre's. And even Long McQuaid, they were like, get real pre's.
Right.
Like the interface pre's are good, But if you want, something different, you want
Yeah.
like a nicer sound, get an outboard gear of preamps.
Yeah.
So then I first got the Pro MPA 2, which is also a 2-channel tube preamp.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I got this, I started using that for everything.
Yeah.
Loved it. And then afterwards, I wanted to get my hands on, because my whole thing is just black. I wanted some like difference in here, so I got this ART TPS 2, which is also a tube preamp,
Okay.
2-channel. But what I like about this, you got your standard impedance, gain outputs, phase, gain, phantom. These knobs right here,
Yeah.
I can cycle around and basically it has a bunch of different instruments on it.
Okay.
So acoustic guitar, percussion, piano, voice, all that stuff. And I'm going to assume, because I vaguely remember the instruction manual, but it's kind of like just quick little different. It's obviously presets, so it probably just shapes frequencies a little bit for different things.
Yeah.
Like when we were miking the acoustic guitars for a song last night with
Yeah.
Tom and Seamus Johnson.
Yeah.
I just set it over to acoustic. We just got pencil mics on us. Go to town. And then I put a 57 and a pencil up on their Princeton. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to swap this over to electric guitar. And I swapped it over. I was like, wow, the acoustic guitar is so much louder than the electric guitar preset.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Cool, man.
I like it a lot. I
That's
use this
awesome.
one for vocals all the time, the MPA.
Yeah.
And then I use the TPS for instrumentation. So
That's wicked.
I have a recent client for Bedroom Studios in
Mhm.
right now. Their song's almost done,
Mm-hmm.
and she brought a piano in,
Okay.
and I was like, I think I have piano on here. So we just took the left rights, went in, cycled it to piano, and I was like, this sounds great.
That's cool.
And
Very good.
I love that these are like the miniature VU meters, but you also have the tube warmth right on top, which is real nice. I like seeing like the amount of tube that's being used.
Yeah.
Even for this one. What else do I got? Since everything's in the back, I had to get a patch bay as well.
Yep.
So the patch bay is pretty much only these 4 in use.
Yep.
These ones are obviously for the vocal. These ones are for the TPS2. And then all the VLA2 stuff is in the back, so it's outputs 7, 8, going into inputs 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And then just go to town from there. This one's a funny story. This Hartkey bass
Yes.
head.
Wicked.
I went down to Bootlear's Point for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, give a guess how much that was.
I don't know, man.
200.
Holy.
And it is the heaviest piece of equipment I got.
I imagine.
Picked it up, I was like, ah!
That's wild.
It was a nice 40-minute drive to go
Yeah.
grab that. And I was like, really, $200? What's wrong with this? And they go, nothing. Just don't use it anymore.
Wow.
And it's good when it's, buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace. You always got to see that when something looks so good and the price is so low. It's like,
Yeah, there's something wrong.
what's wrong with this?
Totally.
If you look over at my amp, you see that big Yamaha bass amp?
Yeah.
I got that in Fall River. And it was $125.
Wow.
And I asked them, first thing, what's wrong with it? That was
Yeah.
not, hi, is this available? What's wrong with this?
Yeah.
And they said, nothing, son doesn't play bass anymore.
Wow.
And I was like, I'll take that off your hands. Let me get home for work.
There you go. That's awesome. Good for you. Nice find.
Thanks.
Totally.
Oh, I bring that to gigs. Or
Yeah.
sometimes I do mic that. I just usually DI bass.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll do both. Like I'll run my DI and I'll run my split through right into that amp, and then I'll just get like a kick drum mic on it, center cone. I always like to stay in the closest to the cone as possible because it's like the most brightest sound. Even on a bass, it's still the most brightest sound.
Cool.
And you just get an extra clunk out of it,
That's
like,
awesome.
With the DI, you're gonna get all that, and then with an amp, you're gonna get clunk clunk, which is nice. You can boost
Blend them
that in like
together,
one.
yeah.
You can boost that in the 1K or whatever.
Totally.
It's pretty. So
That's awesome.
You said. Oh, another thing is, look at this.
Whoa. You just
It's on a pivot.
tilted it up, everybody. Tilted up the rack mount. It's gorgeous, man.
I
Love it.
These.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is this is cheaper than this was cheap. This was $120.
Wow.
This whole thing. So I believe this is. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 10 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 10 by 9.
Wow.
And of course, the first 10 are on a pivot, so I can like turn it into like a table or whatever. If I just want to stand up and mix instead of sitting down. Also on the wheels with brakes.
Yeah.
But what's funny is this was like almost a third of the price.
Yeah.
Cheaper than my other rack mount.
Wow.
This was $120
Wow.
for all this. Then the only thing is, it only came with a certain amount of screws.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to buy a 50-pack of M5 and M6 screws with cage nuts in the back.
Yeah.
But my other 8-unit rack mount, not as fancy, it's just a box. You just put 8 units worth of stuff in there. $300.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course
amazing.
I did payments, so it was 30% APR.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
man, I don't want this anymore, because it was originally right down in the bottom of this whole workspace, and I would have to throw the chair out. I'd have to go down on like my stomach or my knees, and then adjust
Work on
everything
stuff,
and come back up. That's why I wanted it, because even though I am 25, my knees are shot, so I prefer either standing or not having to go down.
Yeah, totally.
A lot.
Totally. I hear you on that one. Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe I'm 25.
No.
No.
They think you're younger?
No, older.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I knew you were. I didn't know how old you were. I know you're young, man. I'm impressed. That's what I mean. That's why I asked about like how you got started with production and stuff, because you're doing great work and you're doing stuff like
Thank you.
Like this, and I'm always impressed. I'm always impressed with anybody doing it, to be honest. And I came at this like as a longtime fan more than like of everybody, musicians, singer songwriters, the whole thing, and people who do recording. Like I worked for a long time in a different capacity, like in music therapy, and so I was always like a fan of people doing this and wanted to be doing it, and so I'm always impressed, like seeing you doing this, like you're doing this like right out of the gate, and you're doing great work and all that.
Well,
so it's super cool, man.
You're not that different from me then. And when saying that, because you saw people that you were like, man, I want to do this, and you said, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it took me a lot longer though. I mean, like to
I'll tell you right now, my mixes only got good in 2022. I'll be honest, my mixes were good in 2022.
No, I hear you. Well, I'm glad that you feel like they're good now, because I think they're good now. But I'm always like, I don't know. It's so funny. There's some days I'm like, I feel like I'm getting good at this, and then some days I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
There's
or
times you
like,
gotta step away and you gotta like refresh the ears.
Totally. Yeah, or get some perspective.
But I will say though, you're an Ableton user, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Man.
Shout out for Ableton. There we go.
Oh man. Yeah. So this guy. Oh.
I'm not
the amount of memes I see with Ableton.
Yeah.
Where it's like basically comparing it to like Linux.
Right.
It's so impossible to use.
It's so funny because like I'm so not like I mean I love that you have the gear and that you're showing me stuff, but like I don't really know much about gear, and I'm also like I'm just so like I don't, not that I don't care, but like I don't, the differences between DAWs and stuff, like I'm such a like, oh, they're all good, whatever you have, use, and I do believe that, like I don't, but it is funny to like at some point, I do love Ableton, but I'm not like one of these Ableton or die fellas, you know what I mean?
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
no,
funny.
The amount of memes I see is just like average Ableton experience, and this guy's going like so many things just to make his own custom like pads.
Exactly. Oh man, so I do have I don't do a lot of that stuff, but one of my favorite like pad sounds or keys sounds is I sampled my Ebo, like I play Ebo guitar, and I sampled that, and it's like my go-to thing right now for like almost an organ sort of pad organ type sound. And I don't know, that's
all your keys are so good.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank
They're
you.
so good.
Thank you.
I listen to like all the new stuff that comes out. Like I try to listen to everyone's songs as fast as I can.
Yeah, same.
And I mean, there's still a bunch I'm probably sleeping on. I listen to like the newest stuff from you would have to be your most recent with
Laura. Yeah, Laura Ray. She's
I keep forgetting
amazing.
the name of that song. What's that called? Nothing's Wrong.
Nothing's Wrong.
Nothing's Wrong.
Thank you.
And then the one you posted out before, which is Balmoral Falls?
Yes.
Balmoral Falls?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it myself. So.
What is Balmoral Falls?
It's like it's a little spot up in, I believe it's in Cumberland County. It's on the way between here and like Wentworth, Malagash. Like it's, my kids go to a camp up in Malagash, so like it's up on that drive.
You ever stop at Yost Vineyards?
Yes. I don't know if I've ever personally stopped there, but we go by there all the time. Yeah.
Turns out they actually have live music there.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know the vibe for it. I know one of my friends, Mike Fosier, who's he does a lot of dad rock stuff.
Yes.
So obviously if they allow dad rock there, they got to allow every genre.
Yeah. Totally. Totally.
And that's another thing. I find that Halifax and even Dartmouth, or just the HRM in general, maybe we can broaden it to Nova Scotia. It's very diverse when it comes to all the things I've seen before, and like for genre wise.
Okay.
You got this. I guess I'll call it uproar. Not an uproar. I guess a boost in folk now. Mm-hmm. Like when I first heard folk, I was like, that's when I met Leona Berkey first.
Oh my gosh.
And her and my mom, best friends.
Really?
Best friends. And this is funny. This
Leona's
is
great.
funny how. She was actually at one of Tony's Songwriter sessions.
Right.
And I mentioned my mother was from Lower Lordways. And she's
oh
from
my gosh.
Lordways.
Yes, of course.
And so one time we went to the Monty's Jam with my band, Jammer Through the Night. Mm-hmm. So my mom and Jacob's mom came out to see us. And just so happened Leona was there too. And this was the night that you were there. But you came a little afterwards. And...
oh, man.
So I said to Leona, I was like, hey, this is my mom. She's from Lordways. And she's like, oh, Lordways, come here. And then
that's the best.
They talk each other's ears off because they're Cape Breton. That's what they do.
Yeah, totally.
Then the second time they met up again, we were actually at that new Lighthouse Center.
Yes.
Right behind or in the same conjunctional area as the Scotiabank Center.
Yep.
So Jacob was actually in there he was up against, oh my goodness, Leona herself, Bridget, and a bunch of other musicians. So
wow.
So we went up as a band, but he signed up as himself. We see Leona, and I was like, hey, Leona, my mom's here. She's like, oh, where's my best friend? Come here.
Aw, that's the best.
Even though they got like 20 years on each, like mom's got 20 years on her, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She knows.
That's
like
awesome.
even with Jer Mumbo, Jer's only in his 40s, and Mom knows all of Jer's family.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think Jer and I are the same age. I'm 41, so I think he's younger than me, maybe by a year or something.
Also, everyone's like in their 40s. That's like the average age for the music scene right now.
I guess so. I don't know, man. I was really encouraged by that. Like I felt like, if I can just digress for a minute, I felt like I had like missed it all. Like because I
thought I missed it all because I only started getting into it after I graduated university, and we're still in the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, and so for me, like I didn't really put anything out until you told me what year that album came out, 2022, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was already like whatever age then, 30, almost 40 then.
No, it was some good work. It was good.
Thank you.
It was tight mixes, man. Real tight.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I did. Okay, so for me with production, like there's a long story there, but like the short story is that like I was always doing like my home recordings and stuff. When I was in high school, I was recording on the like computer. I made cassette tapes and stuff like that, but I was recording it on the computer, but I would like bounce them out onto cassette and for people in school and all that. But then I like just kept that as a like back hobby and thing that I always wanted to do later kind of thing, or that I always wished I could do, but I didn't think I was good enough or whatever. And I was busy, like I had kids and working music therapy jobs and stuff. But then in you mentioned the pandemic. I'm not sure if it was because of that or not, but at some point I just I was able to like what you said that you had earlier than me, which is this idea that like if other people can do it, I want to learn how to do it as well, or I can do it as well. And I think that's so great that you have that, and I'm grateful that I was able to kind of get there, even though it took a while. You know, and I'm still like that, or I still have to remind myself of that sometimes now. It's like, people are doing this, and so therefore it's possible, and therefore, like, I can learn how they did it, you know, even if it's just like, I don't know, drum programming a certain thing that I find are hard right now or whatever. It's like, somebody knows how to do this, so I can learn how to do it, or I can ask how to do it, you know. So then I ended up hiring or signing up for, I guess, mentorship online. There's a guy called John McLucas who's awesome, and I ended up working with a different guy through that experience called Seth Goodwin, who goes by The Velvet Year. His content is amazing. Both of them are like heroes of mine still, and they do amazing stuff. So yeah, during the pandemic, I was doing like online lessons with these guys for production, and Seth uses Ableton too, so it was a good fit that way. And yeah, so that's kind of how I started there, and I guess that's my story. I was able to also do, through Music Nova Scotia, a mentorship with Lil Thomas at Sonic Temple. So it was just like a few hours a week for almost, I don't know if it was a full year, but like a number of months, like 6 months at least. Just go in for a few hours a week and like hang out with Lil, ask him a bunch of questions, watch what he was doing. Like, we helped out with a few sessions, but it was mostly just like him like walking us through how to use the Neve board and all this stuff, which I, you know, it would be amazing, but like, I don't, you know, I mean, I learned how to do it for that, but I don't have one, so.
Oh yeah, no need. Well, yeah. First you need what, $100,000 for a Rupert Neve board.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that was that was also another like another really formative thing in terms of, well, for a lot of reasons, but also in terms of like just solidifying for myself like a level of confidence of being like not intimidated. Like, it is intimidating, like walking into a room with someone else who knows a bunch of stuff, or somebody who's got a Neve board, or somebody who's got a rack mount, you know what I mean? Like, it can be intimidating, and it's so cool to like learn from people and how generous, like, you know, people are with their knowledge, and then also to sort of affirm that, yeah, I do most of my stuff with plugins, I do most of my stuff in the box, but I'm still, you know, and I'm learning, but I'm still able to get stuff that I like. I'm still able to get stuff that people like as, you know, clients that they're happy with, you know. And then, like, for me, I think one of the main kind of things that I hope to bring to the table, that I think I bring, is like, sort of the client, like connecting with the person as an artist and all that stuff, which I know you do as well, but like figuring out how to, like, you know, connect with them about what they are trying to express, and then how are we going to support that in the,
Oh my goodness, of course.
Right?
That's what I do.
That's
like,
the big job, right?
I even like, so how it works for bedroom studios, and I'm going to come back and talk about those 3 points that you just talked about. Because those are all good, and I got some things to say about that.
I'm sure, yeah.
So when it comes to bedroom studios, whenever a client comes in, I actually have one of these contracts.
Awesome.
So when it comes to, so what it is basically just like, I'll read off like a few paragraphs, and I'll just like summarize the whole contract. So my opening statement, I actually wrote these like at the start of June last year.
Yeah.
The end of May last year.
Totally.
So it just says, you know, welcome to Bedroom Studios, located in Lower Sackville, a fast and cost-friendly option for those beginning in the singer-songwriter field or even intermediate levels.
Yeah.
In this recording space, we allow and encourage brainstorming ideas, basic theory rundowns, and on-site representation of how your song is being mixed, presented with this 42-inch flat screen.
That's awesome, yeah.
You are welcome to bring your own instruments and amplifiers into the recording space, but there are on-site instruments, amplifiers, and microphones. Say you forgot yours at home. As your host, I can be an extra set of hands. Being a musician myself, I can lay down lines, bass guitar, drums. Won't cost extra unless I'm singing.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
And so it's like if someone comes in and they say they want to do this song, the first thing I'm going to do is like, well, let's hear it.
Yeah.
So when the Let's Hear It is basically opening the door for, okay, here's what I hear that's going to go with this.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me if you like it or not.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah,
they'll just come
yeah.
in, like, one of my clients, Ken Cashin.
Yeah.
He
Shout out Ken Cashin.
He's a good songwriter. He's been doing this for over a decade with the songwriting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I got him onto SoCan as well. I was like, get your stuff on SoCan, dude.
Right.
These are good songs.
Yeah, man.
So I'm finishing up one of his right now, and he started back. I don't even remember. It's on the timesheet over there. His first day here.
Wow.
And we first started with this like a Canadian, Americana, but we're Canadian. So.
Right.
So this Canadiana type tune. It was just, drum, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar solo. Michelle Calder, shout out Michelle.
Of course.
For
Michelle's
backing
awesome.
vocals as well,
Yes.
harmonies and all that. Because I can sing that high, not to toot my own horn or anything, I can sing up there.
Yep.
But it's like if I'm not feeling it and I don't want to give a countertenor vibe, I'm like, hey, Michelle.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then so it's either a yes or no, because she's just up the road, which is nice.
That's true, yeah. Nice.
I got her on. What do I have her on? I have her on Rhythm Magic by Jamming Through the Night.
Yep.
I have her on Blue Nose Baby by Ken Cashin.
Yep.
Oh goodness, what else do I have her on? I have her on my newest one coming out at the end of the month.
Nice.
My solo project, The Jazz Enthusiast.
Yeah.
And we'll circle back to monikers after in a bit. So
Sure. Yeah, you've got more than one.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, I got Bedroom Studios and I got
Yeah.
The Jazz Enthusiast. Or I'll just go by my real name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what it is like, it's like, let's hear this song, and here's what I'm thinking. It's like, this bass can go like this, or it's like, maybe we can add guitar, here's what I'm thinking for drums, or stuff like that,
Yeah.
And I'm open to every genre. Like, if someone comes in and is like, I want to do some prog metal, it's like, okay, let's get the amps ready,
Yeah.
Let's get the drums ready.
Cool.
So, obviously, I talk about, protection with work codes and recording codes, and all
Okay.
that stuff. It's like, here's a list of, like, all that stuff. And then as well, it's like, if people want to get their stuff out on there, I got a list of community radio stuff. Don't
Yeah.
think it's like, songs done and that's it, right? Like, put
Yeah.
on YouTube, that's it. The YouTube, like, me putting on YouTube is, I ask consent first.
Yeah.
And, I have clients that got songs done, they say, no, don't put it on. They
Yeah.
want to release it. Right.
Yeah.
But with the local radio stuff, I branched out to the Maritimes when it comes to that stuff.
That's
so
great.
I even
Yeah.
said to Michelle, because she wanted to branch out for gigs, and I said, well, I have a list of places in the HRM.
Yeah.
We can cross link these locations that I don't have or you don't have. And even when it comes to radio stations, like, here, let's cross link some radio stations. Like, I got New Brunswick, I got Newfoundland, I got Nova Scotia. Funny enough,
Yeah.
Nova Scotia in the Maritimes, most local radio stations
Wow.
from both ends of the province. I think it was like 13.
That's wild.
And then New Brunswick and Newfoundland are 5. PI
Yeah.
doesn't have 1. It's
Wow.
all Stingrays
Yeah.
and iHeartRadios. That's all it is.
Wow.
But going back to what you said, when it comes to songs or doing songs, what I like to do is, obviously, you're sitting down, slaving away, getting ear fatigue, mixing your stuff. It's good to always, walk away,
Yeah.
come back to it with fresh ears.
Totally.
Another thing I like to do is with other people who mix their songs is go, hey, do you like this? I'll go, here's, I'll give a master or something, and I'll be like, how does that sound? And then they'll be like, yeah, or yeah, that's good.
To the client or to
No, like,
someone else?
Like, I'll talk to someone else who mixes songs,
Yes,
and I'll be like, how do you
yes,
feel
yes.
about this song?
Yeah,
I'll do it with my
totally.
song, or I'll even do it with, like, a client song. I'll be like, how does this sound?
Yes.
Right? It's like, does something feel off?
Totally.
And then they'll be like, yeah, that sounds off. And then I go, okay, cool, I'm going to go fix that.
Yes.
And I do
that's
that
the
with
best.
every song. Every song, like client songs, or I do. I mean, because it's not. It's at the end of the day, it's a song. Nothing really confidential about it. It's already SoCan protected anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, I think
even with
with
solo
permission kind of thing, for sure. But I think, like, that's it's so good if you have, like, people that you have that relationship with. You know what I mean? Like, that you can have like good feedback that's constructive for you and for where you're at. Like that's, I think, well, just like writing songs. Like if somebody is like, oh, you know, and I don't mean to trash whatever they were saying before, but it's like, oh, this song shouldn't rhyme that way or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but is that the, you know, it's like that's fine. But, you know, there's always the risk too, or if you put your song somewhere that someone's going to be like, oh, this is trash or that's trash or like your snare sucks or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, but you know what I mean? But like,
Your snare sucks.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so like, but then, people, you know, but to have somebody whose ears you trust and whose like communication style you get and stuff like that, that's really great. Yeah, I had that with a friend of mine as well. I have a few folks that that I'm lucky now to have like their perspective that I really value when it's time to call that in, you know, like
There's a few people that I got as well that I tried. Cam Hayes and Tyler Cox.
yeah.
Cam Hayes he's good. Like he doesn't
Totally.
have anything out. Like he showed me stuff before, but he doesn't put it out. He's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not ready. I'm like, dude, CIOE
Yeah.
would eat this up.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's 97.5 FM. They would eat that up. They would love
Yeah,
this
man.
type of stuff. Right? Live off the floor, good reverbs, good. It's all plug-in too.
yeah.
And he showed me in my car, and I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
They would eat this up. They would love that.
Totally.
He's like, nah, man. And I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Cox, obviously, you know, also doing this as well,
Yeah.
under no real moniker, kind of like Mahogany Hollow, I guess, his band. He's always like, Tyler Cox of Mahogany Hollow.
Yeah.
But he's a good set of ears to rely on as well. I go, how do you feel about this?
Totally.
And it's
yeah.
either fix that or, no, that's great.
I tell you too, like working with Laura. So Laura Ray is an amazing producer as well, and she. So working on that song that we did together was like really co-production. I did a project with Sarah McInnes as well, which I was lucky to work on. It was probably one of my first bigger projects.
Why doesn't it ring a bell? She's from Wolfville, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
like,
okay.
A couple years ago, or maybe, I don't remember when, but she basically co-produced that as well. Like, you know, I was the one, like it was in my space, but like the vision and everything, like I really, a lot of folks that I work with, I kind of tend to think of them working in that production role as well. Not everybody, but Sarah for sure, and then Laura. I mean, obviously because she produces other folks, she's done a ton of amazing work and her own stuff. So working with her was like just golden because like we recorded some of it at her place and some of it at my place, and then like just bounced things back and forth and with regards to feedback and what do you think about this mix and all that kind of stuff. And she was great for like when we were mixing it. Her insight was just, her ears were bonkers good, and insights were really good.
That's always good to have like
oh my god, yeah,
multiple sets of ears.
Yeah,
either
totally.
in the room or post room. You know, it's always good
totally
to have as much people as you can to, you know, get exec producers and all that
Oh,
stuff.
of course. Yeah.
Another thing though, you mentioned, you know, plugins. There's nothing wrong with plugins, right? There's a lot of people
Exactly.
that do use plugins, right?
Yeah.
You know, I do have the outboard gear, which is, these is just basically for flavor.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just, you know, EQ and compression plugins. I'll either use, you know, Waves HCOM stereo, or I'll use Leveling Tool by ADHD as my compressors. I
Cool.
like them. They're great. I'll
Yeah.
always use them. Like, I'll throw them on the master as well. You know, people usually go, you know, I'll get the SSL master bus comp. It's like, it's going to do the same thing because it's got the same things.
Yeah.
Right? You don't
yeah.
get, no one should gatekeep plugins, or no one should gatekeep. It's like, oh, you got to do it like this. You know, it's like,
Totally.
the
Yeah.
sound that you strive for, or the sound that you can create,
Yeah.
is what you should be worried about the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
And best way to compare it is like from the previous song you did. That's the best way to do it, not like how someone else did a song, you know.
No, that's a good point. I
But
like
yeah,
that.
plugins
yeah.
are great. Doesn't matter what plugin you have, as long as you know how to use them.
Yeah.
Like, shout out Tyler Cox, right? He uses warm audio and UAD stuff. He's very all about that expensive life.
Yeah.
You know, two warm audio preamps.
Yes.
Those things are like $1,100 each,
Yeah.
And then he's got a UAD Apollo Twin, which is another $1,000.
Yep.
I think he's got a tape machine. He's got this amp sim pedal of a 65 reverb, 550.
Holy
right?
smokes.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of mics. His room is probably worth, not including plugins, oh goodness, in the tens of thousands. And then the plugins,
right,
which are all of Universal Audio. That's probably a few other thousand as well. And you can hear it.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
Probably my favorite song by him has to be his latest one with Mahogany Hollow, I Won't Run.
Yeah, that's great too.
You can hear the saturation that he throws on it. You can hear like everything. Nothing's faint or blanketed by something else. Everything's nicely panned. The harmonies are beautiful. It's such a good song.
It's a great tune. And
that's another thing about folk. Again, when I first met Leona, and I was like, folk, I always thought folk was like, excuse my ignorance, I always thought it was like slowed down bluegrass.
Yes. Totally.
Bluegrass is like real fast and all that playing.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to other people who do folk. And then I listened to Mahogany Hollow, and then I listened to you under Blue Acres, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is good.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
And then a few people are like, as soon as you add distortion, it turns into indie, basically. It's like, oh, goodness. Yeah. And the other half of Mahogany Hollow, David Bradshaw, he makes a joke all the time. He's like, as soon as you add drums, it's minus 15 points. It's to your folk band.
That's hilarious.
Apparently for folk competitions, if you have a drummer, it's automatically minus 15 points.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know that.
That's hilarious.
All the folk musicians are probably freaking out right now.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it is hard to know like what to call it, everything and stuff. But I have been using the term indie folk / pop, or like indie folk - pop, I guess, for like what I do and what I produce, or and I think
I would feel that with Balmoral Falls and Nothing's Wrong.
Oh,
definitely.
thank you so much.
Pop, yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I think like there's a real temptation when you're trying to do this work, and it maybe, I don't know if you have this as well, but where it's like it feels like you need to do everything. Like, where I'm like, you do pop, you do, heavy metal, or you do whatever. Like, yeah, I do it. I will do it. We'll make it work, And as much as I still sometimes will jump into projects, I love all kinds of music. Mm-hmm. And I want to do it all really well. But I think for me, I've started to like really narrow it down to say like, this is what I do. And this is the kind of thing that I that I offer more than being like, we'll just do every style of music. I mean, as much as I would love to do,
how I see pop
everything.
Is, as a genre itself, how I see it is, when it comes to songwriting, is it's a modernistic approach to something else. Because if you have like / pop, or if you have your subgenre as pop, then it's like, okay, it's a modernistic approach to another genre. So, all these genres are old. Like folk is old, bluegrass is old, you can call rock old, jazz is old, blues is old.
Of course.
Right? And if you throw, pop on there, or even if you throw rock, because rock's probably still the youngest. That came in the 50s? Something like that. That's still young. Mm-hmm. And then of course jazz, bebop, ragtime, blues has 20 to 50 years on rock, so
yeah,
it does, and we can go all the way back to gospel and even slave hymns. Like that's basically the root of music coming over from coming to the West, basically. I took a music and culture course back in university.
Cool.
And it was good to see how it was good. It was like how one genre metastasized into another genre, and then each genre has their own branching, everything. But everything originated from basically gospel, and this, as bad as it is, slave workers singing their songs during slavery. And that's where pretty much the Western music started. That's basically how it started. And then everything came like, so first came like country and blues, like that old country, that old stuff was basically divergent off of blues. And then you got jazz and ragtime, bebop, swing, and then you get rock and roll, which old rock and roll still takes that blues feel, you know, that 1-4-5. And then we get everything. Now we're here.
Yeah, totally.
And I do like it though. It's, you know, it's with anything. Start small, become big later. And you can treat that with anything.
Yeah. No, it is for sure really interesting to hear about how like music influences and things like you know, from different cultures have been, you know, either appropriated or, you know, sublimated into music that we kind of take for granted, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, much respect to those traditions, you know. I think it's yeah, man, it's the genre thing is really hard to define, and it also doesn't really matter so much to me, like you know, like, except when you're trying to communicate to other people about what you do, like indie folk or whatever, you know. So like how do you find people who are making the music that I can really do a great job helping them make it, you know. That's why I find that's really the only reason why I find I would use the labels of like indie folk or something, you know. Like I'm trying to connect with people who, like, I actually can do a good job of this style, you know. More than other styles, I think. So I love it. It's like I live and breathe that stuff.
Who are your influences?
Oh man, too many to listen to. Everything. I don't listen to everything. I shouldn't say that. I grew up listening to, well, not grew up, like I listened to a lot of singer-songwriters, indie folk type people, I guess. Right now, like Adrian Lenker is the greatest. Like Phoebe Bridgers, all those folks are amazing. I'm listening to like Vince Staples on the way over here. Ooh. So that was fun. And you got the Post Malone poster, dude, up here.
Big Post Malone. I really enjoy Post Malone.
I mean, come on.
I first listened to Stoney when his first album dropped. I was like, okay. I mean, yeah. Congratulations and Deja Vu were kind of the big ones on that.
White Iverson.
Don't get me wrong. Congratulations is my favorite song on that album.
It's killer.
Iverson, it's kind of like, for me, Iverson's one of those like late night driving songs.
Yeah, totally.
And then
which is what you need it to be.
Deja Vu is like, yeah, and then all of a sudden, Beer Bongs and Bentleys came out.
Yes.
Start to finish, amazing work.
It is.
And then Hollywood's Bleeding, didn't have to be that long, my opinion.
Okay.
That was kind of where Hollywood was kind of taking a toll on him.
Yeah.
So he got the hell out of there, buzzed his head, you know, dropped the weight, and now he's a country artist now.
Love it. I haven't heard the new stuff, but the
album's called Austin. It's a good album.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The Tiny Desk is amazing.
NPR's Tiny Desk with anybody.
With him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that. But his was so cool. Like I listened to that too many times. Like I listen to that now still. I mean, it was only a year old, but anyway, Vince Staples' Tiny Desk was good too. But anyway,
my favorite Vince Staples song is I don't know that number.
Getting a call.
Yeah, I do not know that number.
Busy guy.
It literally says private name. I don't know that number.
Yeah.
The Vince Staples song that I like the most, I think it's North Side.
Yes.
That bitch you thirsty, please grab a Sprite. That's my favorite song from him.
Oh, and man,
then the one
classic.
where he was on, I forget what song he was on, Travis Scott's Astroworld, but that was a good one.
Okay.
That's the thing. Some artists, like, they just don't even say featuring the artists. It bothers me so much. It's like, well, how much, like, you have to listen to it. Like,
yeah.
Did you know Stevie Wonder was on Astroworld?
No.
You do now.
That's amazing.
He was on the song "Stop Trying to Be God."
Right.
Yeah, and I have to constantly go back and be like, which one was Vince Staples on, or which one was this artist on,
Yeah.
right? And another thing is, Michael Jackson did that.
Yeah.
Just Good Friends, featuring Stevie Wonder.
Right.
Doesn't say it on there.
Right.
Money for Nothing, featuring Sting. Sting's not on there.
Right.
Just put featuring.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like that tradition of like putting it on as a feature or something is newer than that than back than the Michael Jackson days. But maybe I'm wrong. I do wonder though sometimes like so that whole like the culture of like collaborative like being on each other's songs and stuff. I think like why don't we do that more in sort of the singer songwriter world? You know?
Oh
It's
my
kinda
goodness, yes.
I think it's like I love like doing that song with Laura again. It was so cool, and obviously she's super talented, great to write the song with, great to work with, and all that. But I think there's also just something really magic about like two artists, like whoever they are, two different artists, kind of like doing something together, and then like each bringing their own flavor to it or their own perspective.
Oh, yeah,
and
of
then
course.
like there's something that I love as a fan when that happens, you know, and so it's like, yeah, it'd be cool to do that some more.
I love that. I'm
You know?
shaking like yes. I like that. It's like when you bring people together, it's like either as a feature or a co-write. How I
Yeah.
see it as co-write is if they bring something to the table as well. Featuring as like I've done this, can you do this? So like Michelle Calder on Rhythm Magic by Jammin' Through the Night was featuring because Jake wrote the chorus, and I was like, you know, it'd be really bitchin' on this chorus. We had a falsetto, and I was like, I can do it, but Michelle,
Yeah.
and she was like, yeah, give me 5 minutes.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And she's on the new song from the Jazz Enthusiast, Boyfriend Material, this blues tune, and her and I are just doing choir stacking.
Nice.
So for that one, that's kind of like in the sense where it's like, not really like singing. It's like, oh, I've written this out. Can you sing this? Or like, oh, what have you brought to the table? This is more of like a backing done by, like, and the credit is like right there when you see the song. It's like backing vocals done by, or if there's a physical copy, it's like additional help from this person on tracks like that. Like Bill Travis does that. Like his album, Still Life Lessons. Where is it?
Oh yeah, great little record.
Oh, I can't even get it out. Oh no. Oh, why are you gonna do me like this? Oh, I'm struggling here. There we go. Right on the back, he goes tracks 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 14, and 16 lyrics by him, right? Or he'll go tracks 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 15 lyrics by this person, music by this person, this person, this person.
Yeah.
Backing vocals done by this person on these tracks.
Yeah.
Like he does that. I like that, and I first saw that, and I was like, that's probably why it doesn't have a lot of features on the when you look at the digital version.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, totally.
Which kind of
totally.
answered my question about like these artists back in the day not putting features on as well. So I was like, I wonder if they just throw it on the record because records were selling more back then.
Yeah,
That makes that kind of was my theory for it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, definitely reading liner notes and finding like which session players or who was on things. But then there's also some famous ones that were never really documented, but people know. Like I can't think of it now, but who played on like one of the Michael Jackson tunes? It was like I don't know. People are gonna get mad at me because I'll get the name wrong.
Goodness, I don't even know, and I'm an MJ fan.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, one of these famous guitar guys. I'm gonna get the name.
Oh,
wrong.
Eddie Van Halen on
I
Beat
think
It?
so. Yeah.
So Eddie Van Halen
weren't they like not credited or something?
he decided to do it for free and didn't do a credit just because he didn't want the other band members to get mad at him.
Right. Yeah.
And all of a sudden the song is immediately skyrocketing to the charts.
Yeah.
And they go, why didn't you ask for a credit?
Right.
Like, you silly goose, why didn't you get credit for this?
Yeah.
I don't know if they fixed that up afterwards, but yeah, Eddie Van Halen did that solo for free.
That's wild.
And there's like sometimes there's other things like going back to Tony Trimper, Callahan. You know, they did their double release, The Four Winds and Ignore History. The Four Winds had Ashley McIsaac on it.
That's wild.
And the music video Since it's public, he was on contract, so he couldn't be in the music video,
Right.
which sucks.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, I want to see this, incredible violin player. And it's like, he's not in the video. Come on now. And it's things like that. So from when it goes back, when it's Eddie Van Halen, I don't remember if it was contract or if it was just he just didn't want the bandmates to make fun of him for being on a pop song.
That's weird, yeah.
The thing about Sting, though, Sting was literally brought in and requested by Mark Knopfler for Money for Nothing.
Yeah.
They were in the Caribbean, somewhere in the Bahamas and all that. They had a studio there. They recorded Money for Nothing in a room probably a little bigger than this.
Wow.
Yeah. And he goes, you know who would be awesome on this song? Sting. And one of the guys in the studio, or one of the engineers goes, well, it just so happens he's here on holiday. Because Sting frequented that island a lot.
That's wild.
So it's, get him here right now.
There you go.
I mean, they probably have Sting on the back of the album, or like the physical copy of the album, but from stuff that's old brought to new, what would be nice is every credit is put on afterwards to let people know. It's like, oh, who did that voice? Oh, we'll never know,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then unless you have to go buy a physical copy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, so when it comes to crediting, I make sure it's like, if it's like a feature or a co-write, I make sure I get that on there. But if it's something like just did like stacking of a choir, it's like, okay, these choir stacking done by this person.
Yeah.
And that's right on the cover art.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Through the Night, we did a song with Ken Cashin and Brian Doucette. And it was pretty much just like a stab at metal, basically. So Ken wrote the words. And it was actually a poem he wrote a while back. And he said, I want like a drop D song, heavy drop D song on this. And I was like, we can try it,
Yeah.
So I say, here, Jake, take as much of this poem as you can. And then Jake did his own words as well. And Brian Doucette did the guitar solos and all that.
Yeah.
So what we did is we had it featuring, Brian Doucette on the when it came out digitally, and then on the cover art it was like words by Ken Cashin and Jacob Hall.
Yeah,
that's who it was. And I was like, everybody is credited. You go in SoCan, everybody's still credited, right?
Yeah.
Jamie Through the Night, Ken Cashin is credited, and Brian Doucette is credited. Like, that's everything like that. And I even
cool, man.
When it comes to doing features as well. For bedroom studios, back to the contract, I was like, unless I'm singing, I don't ask for credits. And I just say, like, go in SoCan, just 16.7%, how it works. It's very, like, everyone's like, why so small? And another thing is, like, why do you charge so little for your hours and your songs? It's like, because this is for beginners, Like, don't want to scare people away with, like, oh, yeah, $500 for this, or $500 or $1,000 for that. It's like, no. What you get is you get a real, connection with the person in charge of the whole operation. You get to have a voice, you get to have input. There's things that are allowed to be done, and then it's like the cost of it should not be a worry. That's why the cost is, low. If people go like $5 an hour, don't you mean $15 an hour? And I go, no, I meant $5 an hour. And they're like, that's crazy. I'm like, no one has yet to complain about it being that high or being too high ever. So I charge little, just obviously have people like enjoy the experience and come back for more, but it's also like not a worry for having. It's like, I don't want $500 for like just to do a song, or like $30 an hour just to be in the studio. Like, no, that's some people can do that. Like Sonic Temple, they can do that, right? They are that person, They can do that, and everybody else can have their own prices wherever they want, right? But I just find that putting it low, it's just like, I'm not this big shot, I'm just a guy.
Totally.
Kind of like the same way that you are also a guy, kind of the same way that Tyler Cox is just a guy, same way that anyone else who does this is just a guy, and they get to do their own thing.
Totally.
I like it. I do like it because it has opened doors. It has, there's new faces that come in that are new people that I've met. Like, one of my other clients was actually a friend of Ken Cashin. It was David Edgar. And he just randomly messaged me and he said, "Are you the guy that does the songs for people?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, cool. Ken Cashin mentioned mentioned me about this." And I was like, "Perfect. Ken's great. You know, you want to come in? Here's the hours. You can come in."
Mm-hmm.
And David does really good songs. I love his songs.
Nice.
We do live off the floor. We set up like 4 mics around him. We just go.
Sweet.
And he just taps his foot and just sings. So it's all human.
Yeah.
I like that. My favorite one has to be "Have a Glass of My Wine."
Nice.
That blues one. And then what's funny is, so it's live off the floor, but I actually took my guitar amp and I put it in that room, mic'd it up, took that gobo, and I put it over the door to my bedroom. And I was like listening for like the room mic if it would pick it up that much, and I was like, it's not that bad. Great. Okay, perfect. Just put a 57 up to the guitar mic, just went, and we were just constantly staring at each other and tapping each other's foot, like trying to tap each foot like in sync, just so none of us would fall off. I love it. I love doing stuff
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
great, and it's good to have like ideas come together. Again, you can never go wrong with brainstorming, and I encourage it so much. I love it, and I'm so glad that people are satisfied and people do or not just to me but for everyone, recognizing everyone's accomplishments.
Yeah.
Like, I hear that my stuff is good, and I'm like, thank you. Like, that means a lot. It took
Totally.
a while to get to hear that and believe that from myself.
Yeah, of course.
And it probably with anyone, it's probably with you as well, because Blue Acre stuff is great.
Thank you so much.
Falls, I fucking love it, dude.
Thank you so much.
Pardon my French, I love it. Like,
yeah,
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of July Talk. Their slow stuff. You like July Talk?
I have only heard a little bit, but I loved what I've heard, and live footage and stuff has been amazing.
Live, they're crazy.
Yeah, unreal. But I don't know them.
If you listen
well
to
enough
their,
to say.
Because the Frontman Peter, he plays guitar and he can also play keys and piano. If you go listen to their Solstice EP, which is their latest,
okay,
there's 2 songs on there. Go listen to, I forget what the other one is, but the first one is called Venus Stopped the Train. Mm-hmm. That is such a good one. It's just piano. It's just David and Leah, the 2 singers. It's just a nice sit-down feel. It's so great. The other one is called Mirrored Heart.
Okay.
Those are 2 great songs. They're just piano. They just sit and they feel folky, even though they're alternative rock.
Yeah,
but
amazing.
They just feel like, you just feel nice after listening to it.
That's cool.
I love it. And I was like, this is a completely different feel.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's cool. I'll look it up for sure.
And the reason why I also thought it was like July Talks, because you got that deep voice when you're singing, man.
Thank you.
I only I pray to have a voice like that.
Oh.
I practice with Waylon Jennings to get my voice like that.
Yes.
It's a lot of work,
That's amazing.
I'm more of a alto when I'm singing, but I try to get to that baritone when singing. It's so great to have that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I love the fact that everybody's voice is their own, and it's funny because, like, yeah, in some ways, maybe when I was younger, I used to think like I would want my voice to be more like whatever the people who I would listen to would be, like, just be able to sing high,
You ever been compared to another singer? Besides
yeah.
July Talk?
Yeah, at different times. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just like low voices, But it's not like super. It's funny because in my day job, my music therapy job, we have a student right now, who's great, playing some guitar or playing piano and singing. And this guy's voice is like super low and awesome, like singing really well. And it's so funny because now I feel like I have a high voice compared to this dude. But anyway, but no, I love when I played something in high school one time. Somebody said Leonard Cohen, which is really, I thought at that point was kind of an insult when I was a kid. But now I think it's amazing. I don't think I sound like Leonard Cohen or write like him. But some people have said Johnny Cash. But I don't know. I think it's just like,
You ever tried singing Waylon Jennings?
oh yeah, I sing some stuff of that. Yeah.
You know, it'd be probably a good one for you. Would probably be "Dreaming My Dreams."
I don't think I know that.
It's it's off the album "Dreaming My Dreams," but
Cool.
it's just a it's a waltz,
Yeah.
and it's just capo first fret, E shape for blues, EAB.
Yes, I love that stuff.
But yeah, that chorus sound is just in the original tuning, the original song, it's just very loud bass, a strumming acoustic guitar. You got violins and all there, and that it just sounds great. I love
That's
it.
amazing.
And it's one of those songs that it's like I can't even sing that low to do. I can only get the chorus because it's high enough.
That's cool.
And goodness, when it comes to being compared to voices, you know what I've gotten?
What's that?
First one was Stephen Page,
Okay.
which is wild. I can't hear it. Because I know Bare Naked Ladies, and I
Yeah.
listen to Stephen. It's like I don't sound like that. There's
Yeah.
no way I sound like that. You know what the other one was?
What's that?
Tracy Chapman.
Whoa.
I was like, no way.
Tracy
So many people are
Chapman's
like, you sound like
voice
Tracy
is
Chapman. I'm like,
golden.
no, I don't.
Her voice is golden. Yeah.
Tyler does a good. Tyler Cox does a good. Give me one reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I.
That's cool.
We do that with our little power duo.
That's cool.
Did you ever see anything from?
Yeah.
the good old Cox and Butts.
Totally, man.
We just dad rock enthusiasts. That's what we call ourselves.
That's awesome.
So he does. Oh, what do I do? We do. I try to. This is a reach, and this is like a stay in your own lane type of thing. But I try to get. I want to sound like Neil Young.
Right?
Because I love singing "Rockin' in the Free World."
Yes.
Out on the Weekend,
Yep.
and "Rock and Roll Will Never Die," or "Hey Hey My My Love."
Right.
Yeah, those are probably my favorite ones from Neil Young.
That's cool.
And obviously he's got a plethora of works, but
Yeah,
those
totally,
are just
totally.
narrowing it down. I like for "Rockin' in the Free World." I just want to like try and get that,
Yeah.
get those like enunciation of words, and just try and have that like same level like hit on the sibilances and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not trying to be like technically it does sound like insanity, but like it's such a golden voice.
That's
It's a
great.
staple voice for Canadian musicians and
Oh,
rock
yeah.
musicians and folk musicians.
Yeah.
It's good. But yeah, the Tracy Chapman and Stephen Page is crazy.
That is cool, man.
I would never expect that. And a lot of people have told me, "You sound like Stephen Page." I'm like, "No. Thank you, but no."
It's funny, like, people find, I don't know, they seem to be like either hesitant or not hesitant enough to tell you they think you sound like somebody. I find, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes they're like, I don't want to offend you, but you sound like this. Or sometimes they'll just come out with something and it might be offensive. You know what I mean? You sound like my teacher told me I sounded like Leonard Cohen one time, and like I was probably 16, and I was like, oh, that's too bad. But now I think that's cool. You know what I mean? But back then I was like, you don't mean Radiohead? You don't mean Radiohead? You know what I mean? I'm like, of course I don't sound like Tom York or whatever. But like, yeah, no, other people, like, I guess just thinking about other kind of voices similar that people have kind of said, like Damien Jurado, who's a singer-songwriter who I just think is the greatest. And somebody sent me one of his songs, this was ages ago, and said like, they thought I sounded like him. Or Bill Callahan, or The National, those kind of voices, which again, I don't think, like, I think it's their voices I really admire and that I get encouragement from, because they're like not, the Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber style, which I love too, like, no, but it's like the kind of lower range, different levels of, like, I don't know, grit or something. I don't know, it's not grit, but it's like
Grit would be July Talk.
whether
Or Tom
yeah,
Waits,
exactly. Oh my god, Tom Waits, yeah. Heck yeah. So good. I mean, wild.
But yeah, try July Talk out.
I will.
Try those
I
Venus
will.
Stop the Train and
I will.
Mirrored Heart. Those sound good because Peter from July Talk is obviously a low singer as well.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
cool.
so like just hearing those, and he's not bringing that grit out, and you just
Yeah.
get to hear his voice without the added growling and all that on it. It just sounds. It's just so peaceful.
That's
and that's what
cool.
made the connection for me. The first Balmoral Falls just reminded me so much of Venus Stop the Train, just of how calm it sounds.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Question though, that
Go ahead.
piano on Balmoral Falls, what was that? That.
it might be a secret. I don't know.
Was that a plug-in? Was that a pad?
No, that's a plug-in. Yeah, I don't have a piano right now.
It sounds so good.
Thank you, but yeah, it's got a ton of verb on it and everything. Thank you so
the
much.
mallets on the strings, like the second time you hear the motif at the beginning, then you hear it slightly after, and it's just more like mallet on string, and it's like, oh.
Amazing.
Do you use do you Spitfire Labs?
I do use Spitfire Labs, and it's really great. I think they're changing it now, aren't they? Like, it's not all as free as it used to be, but...
No idea.
But yeah, there's a Spitfire Labs stuff. There's a bunch of stuff I have, and to be honest, like, I'm not exactly sure which one it is. I did buy a Spitfire piano one. Like, they have some really expensive stuff, and then they've got some relatively cheap stuff, too. So this one was, like, one of the cheaper ones.
But
it's really good.
I have a bunch of stuff in Labs, actually. I use the soft piano or the electric piano.
Yes.
Good. I have their drum. I use their snare as a layer sometimes, just because it's so dense.
Yeah.
It's a fat snare, and I love fat snare sounds.
Yeah.
So I use it a few times if I want to layer. And what else do I use? So the electric keyboard, the soft piano. The thing about the soft piano is if you use something like, say, an OTT, which is like a multi-band comp, which is kind of used a lot in like hip hop and trap music. If you use an OTT on it, you can bring out the mallet hitting, the mallet on the string hit so much.
Cool.
And it's, as soon as you hit it, all you hear is.
That's
cool. You hear that like.
Yeah.
The inner mechanics of the piano coming out. I love it, and I just love how they do everything, like how they record everything.
Yeah.
I have the choir as well, and
yes.
their strings. The choir was conducted by Forrest Whitaker.
Crazy.
It's good. The only thing that I have gripes about their violin and their choir pieces is they are swells. So you have to like set really far behind your one for like the full swell to take effect. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah, I've had that with a few different ones too. Yeah, it is interesting.
But then also, don't get me wrong, if you ever want, good VSTs, VSTforfree.com.
That's cool.
You ever use that, VST?
No, I don't think I have done.
Oh, goodness, I have so many things. I have, the company's called a Dead Duck Piano.
Okay.
It's basically like jazzy key sound.
Cool.
The Forefront series, so I have Forefront bass, Forefront Rhodes, Forefront piano.
Yep.
DSK brass and DSK strings, great. The DSK strings, I love them. And
That's cool.
And the user interface is the exact same for both strings and bass. It's like you get one type, you get another type.
Yeah.
And then of course they both have all their attack, sustain, release, and all that.
Yeah.
And decay. And what's cool is they can all be controlled by octave as well.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you'll get them in like different variations. You get like staccato, piano, forte, all that stuff. Or you'll even get like ensembles as well to pick from.
That's cool.
Love it. Sometimes they'll be like string ensemble, or violin ensemble, and then just go.
Yeah.
So I can have that sound. I used it in a few things. I actually did a hard rock version of Better Now by Post Malone.
Nice. Where is that? Is that out?
No, I just have it as a backing track sometimes to do live.
Yes.
Just whip it out instead of just having like the 808 drums. It's just like it's the drum pattern, but it's like just with like a real kit sounding, and then we'll just go eighth notes on the bass, and then the guitar is already there. We just put either distortion or overdrive on it, and we just play the chords and just start singing. And of course,
Love it.
Add drum fills as well, just to like make it sound more there instead of just having the drums try to mimic, 808s and trap beats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. I've done it, I think, how many times have I done it? I've only done it twice. I did it once at the Loose Cannon, and I did it once at the Eastern Passage Buffalo Club. Went over well. I like it. And then I think I used Dead Duck Piano at the end, because at the end of that song where he's got those big vocal stacking of chords,
Yeah.
and I just was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to stack all those voices. I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Keys.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just was like, yeah, they're high enough. It'll sound cool.
That's awesome.
And it's very, like, if you sit down and look at it, they're pretty jazzy.
Yeah.
Just like how the voicings are done, or how like the stacking was done when you look at the sheet music for the chords at the end. It's great. And I love how like jazz is like old as the hills, but it's still everywhere when you just take a second to look at songs.
Totally.
Like Michelle Calder, her song "Stay."
Yeah, that one's got some interesting.
She showed me the sheet
interesting
music.
stuff
She
into
showed me
it,
her
yeah,
charts
totally.
for that a few
Yeah.
days ago.
Yeah.
That's jazz.
Yeah, totally.
Even though it's like country, she was like,
Right.
"Oh, I'm trying to go on this folk thing," and I was like, right off the bat, "Summer Love" and "Stay" are country. Those are country, and I was like, "Stay, that's that old cowboy stuff. That's jazzy country."
Yeah.
Because like those first chords, I'm not gonna say the chords so people can easily learn her song, but like the first, like the opening and then the verse, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I was like,
Yeah.
what are these? I was like,
Yeah,
for a
it is
country song,
amazing.
what are these?
I know. I tried to learn it. Like we played a few gigs together, and I was trying to learn it, and it was like, a lot of stuff I can just, which I'm sure you do as well, but just pick it up, But that one I was like, I have to actually figure out what's going on here, I play, when I say I just pick stuff up, I only play simple things. I don't play anything. I actually like that. I don't play anything hard.
Yeah, that's what the Waylon stuff is very like.
Oh my god,
load
yeah,
off,
that's my
like,
deal.
It's just.
I love that stuff.
It's just open chords. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's.
Sometimes you'll get sevens. That's
give
it.
Yeah, that's right. I could live there. I could live there all day. Like honestly, I really do, and I do. I mean, in my work and in the songs I do. Like, I mean, yeah. But anyway, no, that song was great. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. So, just talking back about that. Like that piano sound or different things, like it's just, I love that stuff where it's like, it puts you into, it just helps to kind of put you into the world or something, or just puts you into like it just gives a little bit of a, like a flavor or an emotional kind of thing, whether that's, and for me, a lot of times the stuff that I love, it's like a lot of reverbs, a lot of drenched in things, a lot of that kind of imperfect sound too, like both in the voice or in like you said, in the piano, it sounds like you can kind of hear the keys going and stuff. I love that stuff. I love that stuff in records. Like, you mentioned Tom Waits as well. There's like this Tom Waits song, I mean, a lot of his songs have like, barn doors creaking or the roosters or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But like, Take It With Me When I Go. Do you know that one? It's like, it's this like piano ballad Tom Waits song. It's just a gorgeous, devastating.
I know something similar of
thing.
the same title.
Yeah.
But it's not Tom Waits. The first thing I thought of was "Take Me With You When You Go" by Jack White.
Mm. Cool.
In G or something like that. But that's also a good one as well. Talking about Jack White though, in his
Yeah.
old stuff, his first two albums was kind of like big band stuff.
Right.
Like 14 people in the band.
Wow.
And the one thing that stuck out to me, because if you're a Jack White fan, you're also a White Stripes fan, so you know what his guitars sound like, you know what he can do.
Yeah.
You know what the drums are gonna sound like. What the bass is gonna sound like. This time it's a real bass, instead of just octave down. But the violins.
Yeah.
If you ever go listen to like Blunderbuss or Lazaretto by Jack White,
Yeah.
and just take a second to listen to the violins in any of those songs if
That's
they're there.
cool.
They don't sound like violins. They
Wow.
sound like, well, I mean, they are violins obviously, but
Yeah.
they sound like they got overdrive on them. They
They
sound like
probably
their
do.
pickup and then just overdrive pedal because
Wow,
they're
that's
just.
cool. I haven't listened to it.
It's
Yeah.
not like Take
That's
Me With You
cool,
When You
man.
Go is a good example because they have that because the violins are following the electric guitar, which is like a the guitar's going like and the violins are and it just sounds like overdrive on it,
That's cool.
which I love. And of course, he was back then. It was all analog, because even at Third
Yeah.
Band Records, it's all analog there. So he only recently started doing digital stuff in like 2018. But those first two albums, all analog stuff, you hear everything, and you just hear all the additional stuff that analog gear is going to give as well.
Yeah.
That I love it. That's why I like Waylon so much now. It's also it was just like he sounds cool. I'll learn his songs. Sit there and listen to his album. And it's like, man, no one's ever gonna do that again. No one's gonna write like him.
Yeah.
And when people make their stuff sound vintage, it's great. If people
Yeah.
have like tape saturation or tube saturation plugins and all that stuff, like Tyler Cox has a tape saturation, it's amazing. It's amazing. It feels like an old record.
Yeah.
A good band that recently came out with an album. They put it out just slightly over a month ago. Steel Saddle.
Okay.
They are, I think, a 6-piece country band. I think they're from Ontario.
Cool.
And it just sounds like it's from tape. It's
That's cool.
so good, man. Like, I just love the sound of drums on tape. It's like they're there, but like they sound thin, but they're so punchy, and I love it.
Yeah.
And you can just hear all the. I love it so much, man.
That's so cool.
I don't have tape, but like, I would love to get a reel-to-reel.
Oh, yeah.
And just bounce things. And
Yeah,
then just
totally.
try and get that, or even just like a tape saturation plug-in. I'd love that. And try and get that old vintage stuff. After blues, I definitely want to work on some old cowboy stuff.
Oh, man.
Do a genre swap after that.
I'm into that.
That's why I got the. That's why I got this Joyo pedal, the American Sound.
Yes.
Get that old, probably that L.A. cowboy type feel or something like that.
I love it, man.
I love it. There's Speaking of plugins, though, there's some plugins that I need to get my hands on this one. There are ads going like crazy. Safari pedals. You've seen those
Yes,
ads?
I have seen them. Plugins like
The camel strip
I want-
plugin.
I want everything.
Yeah.
And I want every guitar pedal, and I want everything. But then I've like kind of and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like
That's
I
fine.
had to kind of like get to a place of being like, what I got now is good. And I did that with electric guitar back in the day. Obviously I want more stuff and more gear and stuff, but it's like, no, I like my amp, I like my guitar, I like, my few little pedals I have that I can make the sounds I actually want, And then I had to like turn that off. And I've had to do that with plugins too. Like I still want everything, but it's like I ended up like I invested a bunch into some good stuff that I needed and good stuff that I wanted. And then at this point I'm like, I do want more things eventually, but now I'm like, I've had to be like, have that same attitude. But yeah, totally. Those ones, like the Safari pedals stuff, sounds cool.
I
And
love
the
it.
ads.
The camel strip
Yeah.
is crazy because you have that input drive, which is basically like tape saturation.
Yeah.
You have a 3-knob EQ. You get to cycle between 2 British ones and what do you have? Yeah, you got a Neve on there for one of the options. I think it's called a 4K, but it's also a British style one.
Yeah.
And then you have another one I don't remember. Then you can also cycle through 3 different. You have a Fairchild, a 76, and an LA2A for your compressor as an option.
That's crazy.
You have plate and spring reverb.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's an auto gain on it as well. All in pedal for $49.
Wow.
And so many people are like, man, why does this sound better than all my plugins?
Yeah.
And that's something I would get. I would totally do that. Crank the input drive up to where it's not like super distorted, but
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Just sit down and do a song with the camel strip for everything.
Yeah.
And just see how fat and full it can sound.
Totally.
I'd love to do that. And just
Do it.
my drums are like alone. The drums are like 13 channels.
Wow.
Yeah, so that'd be fun.
What are you doing for? How are you recording drums?
How am I recording drums? Right now, it is all MIDI programmed.
Okay.
So
Good
it's
for you.
It's just like, okay, that seems human enough.
That's
and
hard
then
to do.
I have an electronic kit and I have an acoustic kit.
Yeah.
Just in that room actually.
Okay.
And I play them. I play them as well. I'm Brian Doucette's drummer, so it's
Okay.
it's good to get the practice in as well.
Yeah.
But if I trust me, I want to. I'm like maybe 2 mics away from miking a full kit.
Nice.
I need another pencil, and I need. Actually, no, I'm 1 mic away. I just need another pencil.
Sweet.
Just for the hi-hat, that's it. But the only
Yeah.
thing is, this 18i20 only has like 8 XLR inputs.
Yeah.
So I would want to. I'd have to save up for this one. I'd get a Scarlett Octo Pre,
Yeah.
which is an 8-channel preamp.
Yeah.
You go line in, line out. But there's also ADAT on it, which is just done by a fiber optic cable.
Mm-hmm.
So you would go right from the. You take fiber optic cable right from the Octo Pre, right into the 18i20. You open Focusrite Control, add the additional outputs. Boom, you got 16 outputs or 16 inputs. You have 16.
Right on.
And then you can just.
That's amazing.
You can do a 13 mic closed kit drum now. You have 3 for spare, and you just all right. Time to mic the drums. Put the click on. Let's go.
That's cool.
And this one's 13 because it's everything. You got kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, 4 toms, hi-hat, stereo overhead, 2 rooms. For me, it would just be 1 kick, snare top, snare bottom, 3 toms, hi-hat, overheads, and 1 or 2 rooms. So it would be like between 9 and 10 inputs or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'd still be able to get that full thing. And
That's cool.
Another thing is people, when it comes to room mics for drums, everyone's like, get the EL8 distressor. Get the Empirical Labs distressor. It's like, why?
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, everyone's like, oh yeah, it's amazing when you nuke your rooms,
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. It's like when it comes to room mics, I'm always, my room mics are always nuked. Nuking means it's just, you just take the ratio and just go right to 20 or right to limit.
Wow.
And it just is nice squashed, yet it's still like
Yeah.
sound. I love it. The program that I use is, I've said this several times, it's Steven Slate Drums 5.
Yes. Yep.
And yeah, they got 2 rooms on it. So I just mix them the exact same way. But then when it comes to the drums as well, I also do a bunch of buses like crazy.
Yeah.
So if there's like multiples of, like, there's separate things for like one part of the drum, I'll bus them. So kick, snare, toms, cymbals. I'll treat those cymbals / overheads, and I'll bus my rooms.
Cool.
And the rooms is just I got this trick from Glenn Fricker. Spacey reverb.
Yeah.
And 6-to-1 compression on your bus, and then it's just like, it sounds disgusting on its own, but in context, it's just. It just
That's
fills
wild,
out.
yeah.
It just fills it out, and I love it.
Cool.
I showed that to Tyler Cox once, and because I took a picture of my mixer when I was working on a song, and I have like the mixer filled with channels. He goes, "Room bus? What is a room bus?" And I'm like, well, let me tell you, good sir.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
cool, man.
And it's also good. It's just like, bounce ideas off people. It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
totally.
try the room bus.
That's
or
cool.
He'll
Yeah.
be like,
I like it.
try doing this with this mic, or try doing this with the EQ or something. It's just always like bouncing different ideas, and I love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, it's so good to just be in something and have a bunch of people who are also seasoned and or
Totally.
seasoned or just in the same basket as you are. It's great.
I agree. Yeah. It can be a lot of like solo work. Like you're doing a lot of stuff, like bedroom studios. Even the name is like you're working on your own a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have artists come in and clients or whatever, but and then there's like the online world where you're always learning things, or else being advertised to, or being told that you should be better, or whatever it is, tutorials or these other things. So it is like It is so cool, and I think valuable. Like for me, it's been super valuable to have like people to be able to talk to, who are also doing this or also learning it, or who are ahead of you or whatever, to be like able to just you know commiserate or or celebrate what you're doing or learn from. Yeah, so it's super cool, and it's cool to have this chat
Yeah,
for
no.
that reason.
Yeah, this is the first time, like, we've seen each other several times,
Oh
but this is
yeah,
the first time I get to, like, sit down and actually hang out with you, man.
yeah, totally. Likewise.
Yeah, no, it's great. We talk each other's ears off, and it's just we had always something to say. It's so I like that. That's the reason why I wanted to start this.
Yeah.
Get to people that I know and or know of get to sit down and actually be with them, get that real experience of being with them instead of just
Yeah, totally.
trying to talk to them in public for a little bit because there's so much going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
like
for me,
it.
I don't even leave my house, so no. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good, real good talking with you, man. Yeah.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Oh,
yeah, and thanks for inviting me over. It's so
Thanks
cool
for
to
saying
see
yes.
your what you're doing and like honestly your work and how putting stuff out all the time and helping artists do their thing, getting all your tunes on the CIOE.
Yeah.
Top. You have a few songs on there now, don't you?
I just got the one now. Jamming Through the
Okay.
Nights. Almost 2 weeks ago, made it to the Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah. Congrats.
And
That's
so the one
wicked.
we have right now up there is the Jazz Enthusiast.
Yeah.
With Nick Murray, Justin Heisler, and Cody McPhee.
Yep.
Anti-social media.
Right.
Yeah, that blues tune. That was the first one to kick off. Like, hey, this is what Sweater Weather 3 is going to be like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one was literally just like, this is what I've seen in the public.
Yeah.
Take it as you will. That's the best way to say it. That's the
Okay.
nicest way of saying it. Because
Yeah.
it's also that you haven't been out a lot. It's good that you haven't seen. There's people are nice and people are mean. Like that's what the song's about. People are nice and people are mean.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, totally.
And all I can say is like take another like hard listen to the lyrics. That's all. That's
Sure,
basically the
it
best
will
way to
do.
say.
Totally.
But yeah, no, it was good. We actually used real drums. Justin Heisler actually did drums for that.
Mhm.
That's why he's on there.
Okay.
And then I layered them with my Stephen Slade drums.
Nice.
So it's just nice and just I love
That's
it.
cool.
Cody
Yeah.
and Nick do guitar solos on it. I'm just there as like, this is what I had in mind. Bass line, singing. Cody
Yeah.
and I are doing harmonies. So
Nice.
like I have just like a root and third, and then the last two verses we actually have like a choir stacking on there, just
Mhm.
like a 1-3-5.
Mhm.
We doubled it. So what I like to do is when I stack, I like whatever my notes are,
Mhm.
double track it, pan it.
Yeah.
So there's two of each, like 1-3-5, pan left and right, and then of course same for Cody, 1-3-5, stack left and right. So it's just for fullness, and it just
Totally.
sounds like you can get stuff done with like one person. A good example would probably be like either Jacob Collier, who does everything by himself,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is crazy. If you ever go listen to his harmony stacking, it's like, oh. Or if
Yeah.
you go listen
Of
to
course.
Sam Smith, his old stuff.
Yeah.
You go listen to if you go listen to the choir harmony, it's him. It's all him.
Yeah.
You can hear it with like the higher notes, but a lot of people are like, oh, when you're doing choirs, like make your voice sound different, or do this, or like lower your voice to make it sound different. It's like, or just get a bunch of people.
Yeah,
and
totally.
make an actual choir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
There's a good technique, and I actually used it yesterday for one of the songs for Sweater Weather 3.
Mm.
I'm gonna use it for a choir as well, but I used it just for like clapping.
Mhm.
It was a thing. It was a technique coined by Bruce Sweden, which is Michael Jackson's audio engineer.
Okay.
You take two large diaphragm condenser mics.
Mhm.
You have one facing like this.
Mhm.
You got front of castle here, back here. You get another one like this,
Mhm.
upside down, phase inverted, as close as you can without touching. And then you put a bunch of people in a circle around, and they sing their parts, and it's just a full. I love it. It's just a nice, good way to get like stereo for a choir,
Sweet.
basically.
Yeah.
It was great. It was, what song did they do that for an example? It was off the Dangerous album. It was the second last tune where the kid choir was in there, and they showed Bruce Sweden send it up, and I was like, this is insane. Like they're all the kids are like in a circle. I think 4 feet away from the mic, and it's just incredible. Incredible.
Crazy, man. That's so cool.
And it's always good to obviously experienced people to get, learn from their techniques or use their techniques as well. Because I see a lot of people nowadays do that cross mic.
It's like Bloom Line or something?
Say again?
Is that like the Bloom Line? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think that's probably what it's called.
Yeah.
There's
That's
also
cool.
another one that's pretty cool for drums that I never thought of. Like the drum overheads, you have the two condenser mics on top, right? One over one sample, one over the other. There's this one drummer, his name's Jake Reed.
Yeah, he's killer. So good.
I freaking love him, man. He's so good. He does OFTR.
Okay.
Or ORTF, whatever it's called.
Uh-huh.
So what he does, ORTF is a stereo for condenser mics. It's a stereo imaging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like XY. XY is 45, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or like a 90-degree angle, basically, like that, right?
Yeah.
So ORTF is 110 degrees.
Wow.
So you take your mics, and they'll be the theta would be 110 degrees between the two of them. So he'll do that with identical condenser mics, and then he'll put another condenser mic in between them, and he has them directly over the snare instead of in the middle of the kit. Because in his defense, he said, if you do that, your snare sounds too much to the left when you're mixing your rooms.
Yeah.
Or mixing your overheads, my bad. So what he does now is he has that, basically, he has a mono and a stereo overhead. He has the one right over the snare. He has the ORTF on each side of that single one. So he has the stereo and that mono overhead. And he has a more centered snare sound in his mix, and he still has amazing stereo imaging for the rest of the kit, which, hi-hats are over to your left, crash over to your left, your rides over to your right, your toms are branching from left to right.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's amazing.
When it comes to being able to set up drums and actually mic them, I probably would do that as well, a stereo and a mono overhead, and get the ORTF in there as well, and just see if I'm going to get sensory overload,
That is awesome. Good for you. Yeah, yeah. It's such a an adventure, learning how to mic, especially a new thing for you. Like for me as well, I haven't done a ton of drum miking in my space because I have a pretty small space, but yeah, like that sort of quest of like how are you going to do it this time, or how do you do it so that you get the sounds you like, and all that. It's so cool, man.
It's funny.
Really
I don't know if you listened to Sweater Weather 2, which was just the 3-track blues EP.
Okay.
So that was actually done before these preamps were purchased.
Yeah. And
on top of that, it was see that gobo? We actually had 2 of them.
Yeah.
One is just under repairs right now. It's just in that other room.
Yeah.
And all we did was actually use that orange micro dark.
Yes.
That tiny singular tube head and that tiny cabinet.
Wow.
That's all we did. We had it on an amp stand, so there was no floor rumble. We had the gobos like this, one in the back, one on the side. And this is even before I even had like some of the padding on the walls.
Yeah.
I think I didn't have the long 2 feet by 4 feet ones. I had a few of them on the wall like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just had that 90-degree, and then the first song was actually 57 in ribbon, Make Time. Then the second one and the third one, I was like, you know what, screw it, 57 and pencil. And it was all it was just from that little tiny amp.
That's wild.
Cabined head, and everything. That is a tube. We actually used one of the songs, Cuffing Season. I used a Seymour Duncan twin tube blue, which is a 2-tube overdrive, 2-channel, so 2 tubes, and just swap the channel when it came to the solo. Go back to the rhythm one when I'm not playing the solo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It sounded incredible. And I have Ibanez Geos, right? I have crappy starter guitars. But it sounds like Stratocaster, which was insane to think about.
That's
All I did
cool.
was twin tube blue, MXR Dynacomp, and Holy Grail Mini on the spring option.
Wow.
Those 3 pedals, double
That's
mic
all you
amp,
need.
and it was just that.
Love it.
I was blown away on how good it sounded. I was like, guys, listen to how cool my Stratocaster is, and everyone's like, do you get a Stratocaster? I'm like, no.
That is cool, man. I play an Ibanez as well. That somebody gave me. It's my only electric that I have.
I do
Yeah,
have this.
it's pretty cool.
It's visible. I also have one of Nick's Stratocasters here as well, but that one was actually done for anti-social media.
Okay.
And if you look, just peer your head to the guitar stand, you see the one on the farthest.
Yeah.
See that?
The Jackson?
Yeah, the 8-string.
Totally. Wow. Wouldn't know what to do with that, man.
Oh, yeah, double drop tuning, and you just
Holy
do some metal.
smokes.
So yeah,
Sounds
the
cool.
low 2 strings are F sharp and B.
Wow.
So then you rest your standard guitar tuning E A D G B E.
Yeah.
I just take those 2 low strings and I just EA.
Okay.
So because I'm more familiar with EA.
Yeah.
So it's just get that low sound, start having some like crazy prog drums, and start going.
That's cool, man.
The reason why I got that actually was because of frontman for Rammstein, Till Lindemann. He started a solo career, and one of his songs called Ich hasse Kinder, it just sounded like drop E, and I was like, give me that. So everyone was like, oh yeah, it's done with an 8-string guitar, tune that F sharp string down to an E, and I'm like, that's incredible, just
Wow.
dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. It's crazy.
That's cool.
But then doing further research, it's just like, no, the distortion's just so heavy, and there's a bass. I'm like, what? Why does it sound like an 8-string?
Oh, that's
heavy.
cool. That's cool. Yeah.
I love it. And it's
Nice.
kind of like that techno metal. I mean, Rammstein was always techno metal because they always had their keys in there and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's that techno metal where everything's done in triplet swing and it's just super heavy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the video game Doom does it as well. Where
Okay.
it's just like the it just gets you going.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I love it.
Cool, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, the sun's going down now.
Yeah.
I think it's about time to wrap it up.
It
I had
might
a
be.
real good chat with you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much, Mike.
No,
I
it was
appreciate
great to bring
dude.
you out and finally have a conversation and see how you approach things versus myself would approach things and see where we're both how we're both tackling this. It's great.
Absolutely, man.
You compliment my mixes and I compliment your mixes. Your
thank you.
mixes, I wouldn't say they're better than mine.
No, I don't. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that, but thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's there's differences in how people do it and all that, and we're all trying to figure it all out. And then I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's it does mean things when someone who's into music and into production and into doing their own mixes and stuff, when you get compliments from, or constructive feedback or positive feedback from somebody like that, because it's sometimes you can worry that like, oh well, my mom likes it, or like the artist likes it, but like how does it stand up in terms of the industry or to your peers or whatever. So I appreciate that.
When Cam Hayes came to me one time, we were at his open mic at the Dahlia.
Yeah.
That's a good open mic to hit up. You gotta try
Yeah,
that.
I was there I think once.
It's real good.
It is a cool spot. Yeah.
He'll obviously mic your guitar, and then he'll also put a mic up to it as well.
Yeah.
Just for extra ambience. But one time he just went right to me and he goes, "Your new blues album, that is probably some of the best home recording I ever heard. What did you do differently?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh,
There you go.
oh man." And I was like, "Well, I have gobos." And he's like,
Yeah.
"What are gobos?" And I just showed him a picture of them and he goes, "Oh, those things."
Yeah.
And he's like, and I even told him, I was like, "I don't even have preamps or anything. I'm just going straight interface. I didn't have these ARTs
Yeah,
yet."
totally.
And because when did I start recording? Goodness. Within a week time would be the 1 year from when I started recording and songwriting for that EP.
Wow.
Yeah. It's every time like a year or something passes, it's like, oh my goodness, yeah, I did that. I did that.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Oh man. No.
Those are so good though, like the gobos like that. I know at Song Temple they had, like they had a bunch of those and would use them for everything. Like just isolate. If you're miking drums, they would isolate. Like just move them out. Like to have them movable like that is so great. You can move them around like that, or you could build a little, like almost like build a vocal booth with them. Yeah, it was bonkers. It was like really really cool. Yeah, good stuff, man.
No, yeah, I actually got those. Some dude was selling them.
Yeah.
He had 8 of them. It was all 8 for 600 or 100 a piece.
Yeah.
So he was actually down in Micmac area, and I said, yeah, I'll take 2 of them. He's like, hurry, they're selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I get off work at 4:30, and I'm on Wright Avenue, so I'm going to zip down to Micmac.
Yeah.
And I think my 2 and like 2 others were left.
Yeah.
So it's like, thank goodness.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
But yeah, when I repair the other one, I just need to go down to Kent and just get a piece of wood and just screw it back in. And that's all I need.
Yeah.
Start using both like crazy again. And it's incredible. They've done such a difference. Just instead of like the sound slapping off the walls coming back to the mics.
Yeah.
Like they capture some of that slap and just completely kill it, and it just makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound as annoying. Best way to say it.
That's probably a good. Can we do the less annoying version, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's
let's
like,
go for that.
And the best way to like take care of the annoyingness is basically just muddy, but all body. So 250 to like 800 on the for an EQ. That's all where your annoyance is, in my opinion, or body mud, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I never got to touch the body or mud anymore for guitars. After getting those gobos, it's incredible.
Cool.
Oh man.
Right on, man.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much again for having me out. I appreciate it.
Thank you for saying yes.
Oh, of course.
I'm glad that a lot of people have that are really up to this as well. Like,
of course, man.
I sent it out to a bunch of people, and everyone within like a half hour was like, yes.
I mean,
yes.
You seem to, like, you talk about the Blue Acres community. I mean, I don't want to go on too long because we're going to wrap it up. But, but that's the thing I noticed too when you did ask this. Like, you have a real, like, connection with a lot of folks. And through both recording as well as your live shows and your various, like, side, because you play a lot of different things. So you do side gig stuff too for people. And so, of course, man, like, if you, I'm not surprised that people are like, people are like, yeah, of course, when you said, would anyone be interested in doing a podcast, and you're getting a positive response from people, I'm not surprised, man. That's a testament to you, being who you are, doing the work you're doing, in these different spheres of the music world in Halifax, and so that's
the thing that is
good for you, man.
Like, I was sitting on it for so long. I was sitting on it for 2 months when I made the post. I think at the end of June. Yeah. And I was like, would people be down for this?
Yeah.
Right. And the big thing was like, as soon as Sean McKenna, shout out Sean, incredible supporter for live music and the local scene, and just a big community man. That's the thing. It's like, if you got someone who's like, you think of that person's name and you think, oh, they're a community person. Yeah. Like, their word is almost gospel, basically. Yeah, yeah. Like, when Sean was like, oh, this is a good idea, go for it. I'm like,
there you go.
Bet. All right, we're going for it. Nice. And then I was at church, and I just did the. It was literally a copy pasta, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this?" I sent it out to like 22 people. Yeah. And then everyone was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Robert was the most eager to do this. He was like, "Yeah, let's go, let's do it." And I was like, "Simmer down. We're gonna start in August."
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah. Very cool.
No, it was great, and it was, man. I hope to see you out more, and
totally
in open mics and all that stuff. I can't wait to hear if you got any new songs coming out.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I do have some new things like cooking, but nothing like pressing that is ready to go or that I'm pressing to have ready yet. I'm really focusing on like I'm really trying to focus on the production right now, and for that reason, I've taken a step back on some other things. But it's there. It's coming back. It'll happen. There are new things, and I'm also like, there's definitely going to be like stuff that's like right in the wheelhouse of what I do, and because that's where I live with music, But then I also, I want to make other things too, like different sounding things and some weird stuff too.
Yeah, I always strive for making the weird guitar tones.
Exactly.
Like in Jack White back in the day.
Yeah.
Or making like the weird sounds for bass because I like Primus a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then it just comes to the point. It's like, you know what, the grand or the mass majority of people are not going to care about that.
Yeah.
Because like if I stick to that, I'm just making musicians' music.
Right.
Not general music. And it was a hard pill to swallow, honestly. I was like, I got all this talent, but people are going to want to hear Ed Sheeran. It's like sad bass slapping noises,
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yes.
Thanks
so
thank
much,
you.
Darrel.
I appreciate
This is
it.
episode 2 of the Beverage Studios official podcast. Your host, Michael Butts. Special guest, Darrel Cameron. Signing off. See you guys next time.